Well, then maybe let him go.
By let him go, you mean? You'd be willing to help me with something like that?
We have reached the series finale. How will things be wrapped up? Will this be a fitting end to a consistently great show, or will they fumble the ball close to the end zone? And just as important, who will make it out alive? Hi there, it's Micha. Join me for this review if you like to find out. The episode starts with psychiatrist Julian Rush hypnotizing Frances. That way we learn that she knew all along that Oz let his brothers die.
I found this in his coat. My babies were drowning in those tunnels and he didn't say a goddamn word.
So with a heavy heart and the help of the friendly neighborhood mobster, she plans to give him one last night out, which will end with his demise. However, she changed her mind as little Oz, ever the silver-tongued sweet talker, says all the right things.
I'm gonna get you out of the east side, Ma. Put you up somewhere real nice.
Back in the present, Sophia reveals to Oz that Frances wanted to kill him that night, and also tries to make him admit he killed his siblings.
Tell her what you did to your brothers, and tell her why, and then we can all take a breath.
This is fucking insane!
But even under the threat of cutting off one of his mother's fingers, he still wouldn't budge.
Just say it, tell her. I already fucking know!
Which makes Sophia realize that she overestimated Oz's love for his mother, sick as it may be.
If you would have let me do it.
After that, Frances tells Oz that she should have let him die that day, stabs him with a broken bottle, and then, after another episode, collapses. This is when Oz manages to free himself, grabs his unconscious mother and runs, taking her to a hospital where he calls Vic and tends to his wound. In the meantime, Sophia puts a bounty on Oz's head, promising the gang who brings him to her the entirety of the former Falcone estate, effectively making that group the ruler of Gotham's underworld. While Oz pushes the narrative on the congressman in his pocket, in which Sophia, in addition to her actual crimes, also is to blame for everything he did.
That's the kind of wind that you can ride all the way to the top, Councilman.
But moments later, Oz is captured by one of the gangs who set up a meeting with Sophia to hand him over. Believing to be close to the finish line now, Sophia, in a move to set herself free, burns down the mansion. And heads out. But at the meeting, the gang's deputy takes out the boss, allowing Oz to capture Sophia. Turns out all the gang's deputies in town did the same, getting rid of the old ways, following Oz into a new age of crime.
Oswald Cobb, man of the people.
That's right.
While expecting Oz to kill her, he ended up leaving her to be arrested by the police. Back at the hospital, Oz learns that his mother is catatonic, likely never to regain consciousness again. Outside, Oz and Vic talk about the loss of family. Oz praised the kid for his initiative, and while planning their next move, Vic says something he shouldn't have.
You're family to me, you know?
Which makes Oz realize that attachments and family, though giving you strength, can also make you weak.
And I can't have that no more.
So he ends Vic's life there and then. The episode ends with Oz moving into the Falcone's penthouse, where he also has his mother kept safe, and Sophia back in Arkham receiving an interesting letter from her half-sister Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman. Well, the show made it all the way through without dropping the ball, neatly tying everything up in a bow with this final entry. Did I love everything that happened? No, but that doesn't mean those moments were bad. For instance, I hated the fact that Vic dies. Had me in tears actually, but great shows go there, killing off beloved characters to make you feel this way. But if something like that would make me hate the show, then by that metric, I should have hated both The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, which I didn't, even though in the latter case, they botched the ending. Here, as tough to watch as it was, it also served a clear purpose, something I touched on in my previous reviews. After first making Oz relatable in the earlier episodes, they slowly brought us to the point of despising him. And killing Vic for sure was the straw that broke the camel's back. The moment he mentioned Oz to be family, I knew that this would happen, and I never hated to be right more. Sure, it also wasn't an easy decision for him, and in his mind, it makes sense to get rid of anything that could make him vulnerable in the future. Though he could have just let him go, but I guess the kid knew too much for him to go that way. It also shows though that he lost his moral code. He always wanted to be perceived as a benevolent gangster, someone people look up to, which they would not, knowing what he just did. But of course, the people may never expect anything, just as we never expected in the beginning that Oz was the reason his brothers died. I mean, he even was willing to get his mother mutilated to keep up appearances, because even with his sick obsession for her, it is still second to his instinct of self-preservation. All the scenes around Frances were brilliant and so well acted. I loved how they set up things for the revelation that she was contemplating to kill Oz. A few episodes back, we learned that Frances fell into depression after her kids died, but she suddenly came out of it, being dressed up and ready for a night out, which seemed weird.
Get dressed. We're going out.
Now we got a sensible explanation for it. And the scene in the club was so well executed and revealed more about his mother than even Sophia realized. Because Sophia thought Frances changed her mind because of a promise Oz made her. But it was clearly this one sentence that did the trick.
Just don't give up on me.
She already lost 2 sons and wasn't willing to lose the third one too, even though he did the unforgivable. By the way, at first when the flashback started, I was asking myself why Frances was looking the same age as in the present. And I decided it was a clever stylistic choice, maybe trying to say that she aged mentally the day her boys died, as a piece of her died too. But of course I just missed the blinking lights at the very start of the episode and Julian's low voice,
Frances,
showcasing that she is being hypnotized. And they weren't even subtle about it, looking back at the start of the episode. But sometimes 2 things can be true. Anyway, Oz's character revealed so many layers in this show, many of which were quite disturbing. Even though he killed Vic, feeling him to become a liability, he still kept his mum around, even though he promised her to kill her if she gets worse. And now he doesn't even let her go. But I guess this is just another facet of him trying to have her all for himself, while also punishing her for what he learned recently. The creepiest part of it all was him having his girlfriend dress up as his mum in a roleplay so incestuous it defied description. And the way she acted, it felt like this was not the first time she stepped into that role. Yikes.
My beautiful boy.
By the way, as the previous episode was titled Top Hat, flirting with the notion that the Penguin in the comics often wears a top hat, which I think wouldn't be a good fit with this iteration, they couldn't keep themselves from adding to it. Did you catch that moment at the start of the penthouse scene? Though we didn't see it on top of his head, he clearly wore it. So maybe they do plan to bring it in when we see Oz the next time? It's a funny knot though. We will see what they do and if it looks fitting or not.
Wait, that's it?
Though I was hoping Vic would make it out alive, but feared for him all along. Unfortunately for good reason, I'm happy that I was also right that they wouldn't kill off Sophia, which would have been a really bad move. As predicted, which admittedly wasn't much of a stretch, she ended up back in Arkham. I was surprised though to see that Julian was back in charge of her, because he mentioned quitting his job years earlier. Apparently they are always looking for psychiatrists there, and as he came out clean with no one being the visor of his involvement with Sophia, he was immediately rehired. For a moment, as he looked quite smug, I thought he enjoyed being back in charge of her. But that doesn't really fit in with his submissive attitude. Anyway, after his role felt a little bit useless in previous episodes, we now know for what reason his character was introduced. To be Sophia's inside man, allowing her to get out when the time comes for her to return. And I am looking forward to it, loving the setup with her half-sister reaching out to her. Now I can't wait for the next chapter. That may be the next The Batman movie or something else. Maybe they do another season or give her own show. Nothing concrete announced yet, but we hopefully will find out soon. And with that being said, let's get to the rating. The show came to a great conclusion and never disappointed. It is without a doubt my favorite show of the year, period. The finale brought things full circle, even though I was sad about seeing things like Vic being killed off. It all had a reason and meaning though, making us understand that Oz is multi-layered but also a ruthless villain, who now got rid of his last connection to morality and by that severed all relatability that tied us to him as a character. In that light, I should have likely scored the previous episode higher, where he started to show his true colors, which caught me a bit off guard. But even with that mindset, I scored that one with a strong 7.5 out of 10 points, which was the lowest score of the season. All other episodes were somewhere between brilliant 8 and fantastic 9.5 points.
It's everything you wanted.
Exactly. I'm rating this finale with another 9 out of 10 points, which is also the score I'm giving the whole series overall. I loved it, especially after going in without any expectations in the beginning. Nothing is more satisfying than a show blowing you away out of nowhere, isn't it? What about you? How did you like the show? Are you happy with the conclusion? How did you take Vic's demise? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share or subscribe. So much for now, see you next time, and thanks for watching. Or will they fumble the ball close to the end zone? Fumble. Well, the show made it all the way through without dropping the ball. Neatly tying. Here as tough to watch as it was,